Would you say making music is a comfortable process?
Oh, depends. I would say depends. I don't know.
Yes and no,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I think if you want to make good music, you have to be a bit uncomfortable when you're making it, therefore. Because that's like, you're being pushed outside of what you usually do. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of when you get ideas and stuff like that. So, especially when, say, somebody's got like one song, so it's usually like Juan brings like a song to the band, and then if we have to rework it and stuff like that, and people are kind of drawing blanks, having more people can kind of help to like bounce ideas off and stuff like that. And when things start kind of flowing, that's when it's kind of comfortable. But when you're working for it really hard, that's kind of when it can get a bit nitpicky and uncomfortable and stuff like that. So it just kind of depends, really.
And when it comes to emotion and stuff you guys do as well, there's a real kind of affection about a lot of it, and a lot of the kind of themes about a lot of the time concern love. Do you remember the first time you fell in love with a piece of music?
Yeah. First time I fell in love with a piece of music was, I can't even remember, I must have been about like 5 or 6, and I was in my grand's in Cranhill, and I came into the living room and sat down in front of the TV with like a bowl of Cocoa Pops, and Top of the Pops was still a thing as well then, and Oasis were playing Stop Crying Your Heart Out because it just came out, and that was me. Like, I always remember that in my head, and that was kind of like where everything pretty much started, and kind of came a wee bit later on in life with like music and stuff like that, but that's the earliest memory I've got of it.
I don't really remember, to be honest. Like, I was always like the music guy in my year in school, like, because no one else really did music. Like, or maybe they did, but it was only classical, like they played piano or something. But I was like the cool music guy, right? And I don't know. My earliest memories of loving music is defo Beatles and Queen. My parents used to show me that. That's like the earliest memory of me hearing music. So yeah, probably that.
How do those things you have for that music and the feeling from that first memory you've got, how does that compare to the last time you fell in love with a piece of music?
I think it's still kind of always the same. Like, the thing for me is, like, I always kind of look for like the next sort of big thing. Like, I think you always kind of find like a certain artist that like you sort of latch onto and stuff like that, and as soon as you do, you're like, you get like a proper connection and stuff like that, and you just kind of go down the rabbit hole and you listen to like everything, and then you end up just kind of like going over and over and over like their songs and stuff like that. But I think that feeling's kind of always still the same. It's kind of a bit like an addiction, sort of, to be honest. Like, you keep kind of like looking for like that next thing to keep you kind of like going and excited and stuff like that as well. That's what you're always looking for.
Yeah, totally. I think my addiction's gotten to the stage where I find it very hard to find something that actually like clicks with me.
Yeah.
But when I do, like, for example, I've been listening to this band called Timber Timbre for the last month and a bit. I'm kind of getting sick of them now, but yeah, honestly, like, every day I find it harder and harder to find something that can really go like, oh wow, like that really gets to me, And I guess when you're younger, you're hearing everything for the first time, and also you're a kid, so like that, even if like it will affect you even more, like that feeling of like discovery. Probably like what happened to me with like Arctic Monkeys when I was about like 13 or 12. Like, whoa, what is this, But yeah, I don't find that happening that often anymore.
How does it compare though, say you're on stage at a show and you see someone connecting with your music? What's it like being in the artist position when it's like the other way around and you're seeing someone connecting with yours as opposed to connecting with someone else's?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the best example for that was our last King Tut's gig. Well, the headline gig we did before we supported Temples. And people were like singing the lyrics of one of our songs, like Silhouette. Everyone was like singing the start of the song, and I thought I was going to cry. Yeah, it's just amazing. It's just unbelievable. Like, always, it's so cliche, but like that's literally, I think, what every artist just wants, people to like really feel it, Yeah,
it's the dream. It's definitely, I think we were all kind of like gobsmacked at it, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I kind of remember like just turning around and laughing and stuff like that, just being like, like, fuck's sake. But I think that's I don't know, like at times when music can kind of get really hard, like when something like that kind of happens, it puts things into perspective a wee bit, and you're like, nah, this is still pretty good, you know. Aye, that was definitely the one for me as well.
Is there anything else that can put things into perspective like that does with music?
Probably, I think going into the studio and stuff like that as well, and then releasing music as well, especially when people kind of give like a reaction off it, or you get like messages from people that you've not spoke to in like years and stuff, and then they're like, it's really nice to see that like some people from school are doing something exciting with their lives and stuff like that as well. I've had that a couple of times. And then for them actually to be like, you know what, I actually like your music, it's not just you know, just listening to it for the sake of it, you know.
Yeah, they're going out of the way to actually say something nice, you know.
Yeah, and when people are kind of sincere about it and stuff like that as well, like it makes you feel good about yourself and stuff like that too. But there's always kind of wee things that keep it exciting. Like going into the studio definitely is one for me.
Yes.
And like creating. And when you actually get to see or hear the final product at the end, that's really quite a special moment as well. And then obviously when you release it and people are reacting to it and stuff like that, that's even better.
Do you remember the first time someone told you that they resonated with your music? Or the first time you saw someone resonating with it?
To me, it was well, the first time that it actually felt like, wow, like this is something I could actually do, because you know, it was this teacher in my school who, like when I started, I'm from Spain, and when I started my previous band in Spain, we didn't have a bassist, and he played the bass, and he was like a really cool guy as well, so he played with us. And I remember our drummer like messed something up with the song, but like I fixed it somehow, and after the gig the guy told me like, well, you did this and I noticed it and it was really good. Like I think you're actually quite good at this. And I was like, 14-year-old me like, oh wow. I like a grown up is telling me that I'm like good at this, you know. That's probably it.
We'll get you high. Let's work through this together. Let's be friends. Let's all stay together in man. Every time I drink it, I can feel it coming. Could you even stop to hear the other people talking? Beneath your sunken eyes, I might find that inside you would like for me to say that you're a friend of mine.
I don't know how to explain it, but I know. Because I write quite a lot of tunes, and most of them I patch them because they're shit, you know. But it's just that, I don't know, it's just that thing, like it sounds so cliche, but like you just pick it up, like pick the guitar up and play something, and then it's like shit, it's like it's there, you know, like there's a song there, definitely. I don't know, I don't really know.
I think it comes and goes in phases, because when you write something and stuff like that, like you always kind of get a bit excited, especially if it's like coming to you like really naturally. But there's then that kind of, I guess, the trap of like when you start writing like and you're just playing stuff, like anything can kind of be a song, so you don't really know if it's going to be good or not and stuff like that. And especially if like you're sitting playing like the same song over and over again and stuff like that, it's quite hard to take yourself out of like perspective from it, because you're so like attached and close to it. And especially if like, you know, say like the song's like 6.5 minutes long or something, and it's like, nobody's going to play that in the radio, man, that's far too long, but you really like it, then, and if you wanted to try and trim it and stuff like that, like it's quite hard, because you get like quite an emotional attachment to it. But yeah, I think it's the same as well what Juan was kind of saying, like you sort of know. And I think definitely getting like another person's opinion on it can really help that. Like they can just kind of pinpoint it and be like, that's like a good song, or like, and it can kind of pinpoint like it's got a cracking hook, or the chorus is really strong and stuff like that as well.
Like any element can, like, you know, like anyone's attention can be, you know, like caught by different things, you know, like maybe one thing that I'm playing that makes me, oh, that's a song, but then I've got a bit that I'm like not too bothered about. Maybe that bit he goes like, oh, I like that bit, that could be a song, you know, like, yeah, I guess it's different for everyone, you know?
Have you been, like the way that maybe someone will notice something that you weren't expecting, as you progress as songwriters, have you been more surprised by things that other people have noticed, or less surprised? Have you kind of grasped like?
I think probably more surprised as we've kind of been going and stuff like that, because we've been like together for, well, you've been together longer than I have and stuff like that, but it's quite a few years now, and then Was it last year we added Nate in to the band? And stuff like that?
Yeah.
So, and we've all.
Sorry, mate.
No, sorry.
Sorry.
Glasgow. And we've all kind of like been contributing like ideas and stuff for that as well. But it's more the case that like I think we've all kind of got like a good connection with one another, and like we never really have arguments and stuff for that. So
no, not really.
And it's just always the case of like we will chuck in an idea or we'll maybe suggest something, and it's the case of just like trying it, see if it works, and then we always kind of do it on majority vote as well, don't we?
Pretty much.
But and it's never really been the case that like say like because I'm the guitarist that I'm just going to focus on the guitar bits. You know, there's been like maybe once or twice where I've suggested like some key things and stuff for that as well, or even as well just like because Juan usually brings like majority of the songs to the band, and then it can be like as you're saying like, you know, you'll have like parts that you've kind of like you're set and you're like you want us to play it like as is, and then there's other times where you're just like this is just a kind of like scratch or like a template and stuff, so come up with something else, which is usually what we do, and we kind of have free rein for it and stuff like that too.
Aye.
Although we were speaking as well about the sort of, you know, the kind of the love themes of it and the affection of it and a lot of the music you make, there are darker parts to it as well in some of the songs. Music can be this good tool for like exercising those kind of darker emotions and expressing them in a cathartic way. Do you feel that there are more positive aspects of your personality in the music or more darker aspects?
Oh, in our music?
Yeah.
I don't know, it depends how you look at it, you know? Because like the lyrics are quite, I would say it's a bit of like I always like to say that it's like kind of like happy nirvana, you know? Because it's like the music is quite cheery and that. Well, I mean, I'm literally saying in one of the songs that I don't really like myself. You know, like it's kind of playing with that, you know, because obviously a lot of young people feel like that. I feel just, you know, just being insecure and shit. But you know, it's a nice way of playing with that negative feeling, but sing it in a happy way, you know. So, right.
What emotion do you find easiest to express in music?
Sorry?
What emotion do you find easiest to express in your music?
Sadness.
Oh, that's a hard question, man. I don't know. I guess it depends on the song, really. Like, especially lately, I've tried to like obviously things go slow, and like because we've just recorded some songs that I actually wrote like last year. So, you know, this process is always really slow. But I've actually tried to like distance myself from writing about the same themes again and again, you know, because I was tiring myself, you know. I was like, stop hating yourself so much, you know, it's fine. It's okay. So, yeah, I don't know what's easier. Depends on the moment, depends how I feel.
It can kind of be the reverse, where that people can quite often go to music when they're sad in a way that they don't really do with other art forms. You know, it can be a tool in that domain that other things can't. Why do you think that is? Why do you think music is so powerful in that way that maybe something like film or a painting isn't?
It's just like a soundtrack, isn't it? To me, like just from what I remember, last time I was sad and I went out on a walk because I couldn't bear being inside. That's just it. It's just it's like you're relating to that feeling that you're experiencing at the moment, and you're so making it your own, you know. And maybe I'm just cutting about in this park, and I'm like shit, bro. And this guy, you know, this guy gets me. It's I don't know, because I think it's that capability of like really being able to relate to it that makes it different to like a film or art. You can make it your own. Yeah.
I think music's pretty much like a universal entity and stuff like that. It's not really like, it's not any single person's, do you know what I mean? Like it's different for everyone and stuff like that as well. And it's amazing to see like the kind of power that music has over people and stuff like that. Like I always remember like being back in school and we were watching Tom and Jerry, and the music teacher turned the sound off and I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, there's no one speaking or anything, it's all just music. So we sat and watched it in silence. And I think that for me like kind of put it into perspective. You're like, it's pretty amazing when you kind of think about it and stuff like that, because there's not just like music just to listen to, sit and enjoy to. Is like got elevator music, we've got music to relax to, music to go to the gym to when you're exercising and stuff like that. And it all has like a massive impact on like, you know, your actual physical being and stuff like that as well. How like you can either be really relaxed or really, you know, hyped up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think with the sadness and stuff like that as well, there is kind of maybe a part of it that sort of is like people kind of enjoy being sad and stuff like that at times as well, you know. And it's kind of that thing of like being like a bottle and kind of like filling yourself up and stuff like that, and then at times just like when you're feeling like pure overwhelmed, just letting everything all out, you know.
Yeah.
And I think definitely a good wee cry to some sad music is kind of where you need to go at times for that stuff as well.
Bill Wilco.
Yeah, I think people just kind of, everyone feels the same way and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just other people obviously try and tell themselves that they're not feeling that way as well. But I think everyone feels sad at some point, you know.
Oh yeah. Except for Jacob Rees-Mogg, he doesn't cry. He does not cry. The man doesn't cry.
No.
What would you say is the biggest driver for changing your music then, and evolution? What's the kind of most important factor there?
I don't know. I just kind of, I feel like every artist should change and evolve as they go, because otherwise, to me, there's no point really to get into this. I don't know. I think change is like the main thing of why it is great, because like from conflict comes change, you know. And if you have a conflict with yourself, but like if you like face yourself and say like, right, we're gonna do it this other way, you know. If you push yourself to change, I think that just makes better things than like relying on what you're comfortable with. You know?
I think it's just, for me, it's always trying to like better myself and stuff like that as well. Like
Also that.
whenever I like get like critique off somebody, like if I'm showing them something, like because it's hard like when you show somebody like a piece of music that you've wrote and you care about a lot, and then if somebody just goes, that's shite, you know, you're pure crushed at first in that. But it's like if people can give you like constructive criticism and it's to better yourself and stuff like that, then for me that's kind of like where I always come with it. And I think that's definitely the part where I always trying to like change and adapt and stuff, like because next I think we're going to try and write as a band and stuff like that as well, because primarily it's been that Juan or Jack would bring a song to the band and stuff like that, and I think we will still do that as well, but I just feel that us writing together as like 6 individuals will allow us to kind of bond a bit more and stuff like that as well, and more kind of like a teamworking exercise.
Yeah.
And definitely like managing like our egos and stuff like that as well, because like anytime that anyone you're in a band and stuff like that, and if people say there's no egos, like there is, just everyone's got one and stuff like that, and it's not a bad thing. It's just there's a way of managing it, and
Yeah,
like
you have to keep it in check.
in a healthy way, and I think we've done pretty good with that. But I think us writing together will help us become like a tighter band, and I think it'll kind of keep us pushing forward and making, just like Juan's saying, like better music. And I think people will definitely notice that like in the coming future as well.
Yeah.
I want to pick on something interesting you said just at the start of that answer, where you said that conflict is kind of, you know, conflict causes change. What would you say then is the primary source of conflict in your music?
I mean, it's like 6 of us in the band, and we all come from like very, I wouldn't say very different, but quite different backgrounds of what we're into. You know, like Ali's a lot into like rap music, beats and stuff. Jack Jack is a bit all over the place. Jack is
he's a wild card.
Yeah, Jack's a wild card, therefore. Nate's a lot into his like jazzy stuff. He plays sax, obviously, and we all come from like different sort of backgrounds and interests in that, and obviously, like some things are going to clash when you put all these like influences and what you really want to do with this project. Like ideas are going to clash, but at the end of the day, it's just thinking of either if we're working on a song, like the best for the song, or if we're working on a concept for whatever, just the best for like the whole thing, you know. And it's trying to find that medium of like, you know, you can have your ego, you can know what you like and stuff, but yeah, it's just coming together in the center, you know. Make something interesting.
I think obviously it's just with the, like I'm saying, with the egos and stuff like that. It's not as like it's not a bad thing and stuff like that. It's just obviously, and the thing is as well, like when there is kind of like, I guess, a bit of tension and stuff like that, it's just that people want what's kind of best for like the song, and it's usually that's always the kind of case, or like the best for this sort of band and stuff like that as well. But it's just always about kind of like making sure to take your like ego out of the perspective of it, and like don't take things personally and stuff like that as well, because as soon as that starts happening, like I think obviously feelings can kind of get hurt and stuff like that as well, but it's just really for the betterment of like usually the song at the time, or just whatever is the kind of majority vote and stuff like that. And that's how we've always kind of done things, like just as a democracy, to keep things fair and stuff like that. And usually people won't always get their way like 100% of the time and stuff like that, but it's just kind of something you need to sort of accept and stuff like that.
And even then, like sometimes when I'm not happy about something, maybe I'm not happy about it like for 20 minutes, and then I'm like over it.
Yeah.
You know, because like people are always like, oh, I don't like this, but then just let it go for a bit and then see how you feel after. You know, if you still hate it, then it can be brought up again, but it'll probably be fine later on. You know?
Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.
No worries.
Thank you, man.